What is poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl DOPEaxxPANA, and today I'm going to show you guys how you can achieve these Bohemian tribal braids in literally half the time. If you guys are interested in knowing how I was able to achieve this look in only 3 hours, then just keep on watching.
What you mean you don't know Pana? She's dope. What you mean? What you mean? What you mean? What you mean?
Alright guys, so as always, we are starting off with a nice, fresh, clean canvas. I have my client London here with me today, and I'm going to start off by splitting her hair off from ear to ear. So we are separating the back from the front. With tribal braids, you typically do a nice braided design in the front, and you can have either layered braids or box braids in the back. Today for her look, we are doing a Bohemian style, so that means that there's going to be curly ends as well as curly pieces left out for her look. So if you haven't guessed it already, guys, how are we going to be cutting this time in half? We are going to be doing crochet in the back, and I know when you guys originally seen the braided style in the beginning of this video, you did not think that it was crochet, but it is. I found some amazing hair off of Amazon. This is actually not a paid promo. It just kind of like showed up on my homepage because obviously I look at a bunch of hair stuff, and I was like, okay, let me try this out. Now, Bohemian has been around for a really long time, but lately just Bohemian styles have been really popular, and so I wanted to give some of you guys an alternative for those of you guys who may not braid as fast, or maybe you want to DIY the hairstyle, and I just feel like crochet is a great alternative for that. So before we get into the hair details, I am going to start off by explaining my crochet pattern because I tried something different. I'm going to start off by braiding each side around and down, and I'm going to take the tail end of those braids and flip it up and put it into the next section. The only thing that I did different is I did stagger these braids from the left to the right, so not all of them started off in the middle. And the reason why I chose to do that was to prevent my client from having a part right down the middle of her head. We want to give the illusion that she has either traditional box braids or knotless box braids in the back of her head, and sometimes depending on how you do your crochet pattern, it can really give like crochet. So I wanted to try to make sure that it was nice and full and covered in the back, and I felt like this was the best way to do that pattern. So you guys will see in this next clip that I kind of staggered them off so that my client will not have just a line going down the back of her head. Now for the remaining section that we have left, I am just going to braid those straight down, and I'm still doing the same thing, taking the tail end of the braid, flipping it up and adding it in, but there's nothing special or fancy about that last section. They're just going to go straight down. I am not someone who typically does crochet braids, so I was really excited to try to come up with a braid pattern that I thought will work best for this style. If you are someone who does crochet braids, or if you know a similar braiding pattern or something that works for you, I would love to hear about it in the comment section down below. I love to learn new things, so let me know right now if you guys like this braid pattern or if you have tried something similar or different that has worked for you before. So moving right along, I'm just going to take my needle and thread and sew these last 2 tail end pieces out of the way, and then I'm going to go in and oil my client's scalp. I am using an oil from Rooted and Revived. This is a local brand, but I will see if I can find a link for them where you guys can purchase online. Really love this oil, so I'm going to go ahead and oil my client's scalp before we start crocheting in. So let's get into the hair details, guys. So as I stated earlier in the video, I purchased this hair off Amazon from Ayana's store for $38.99. You get a total of 6 packs. I got the color 1B in 22 inches, which was the longest that they came. And my client London is 5'2", so these were almost waist length on her. And these are crochet Bohemian box braids, and it is 100% synthetic hair. So you guys can see that there are curly pieces left out, as well as the ends already being curly. They also give you a crochet hook in the pack, so if you guys don't already have one, I literally have a million of these, guys, then they will provide you with one. So I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to crochet this in. So you're going to take your hook under the braid, you are going to hook it into the loop at the top of the box braid, and you're just literally going to pull the end through and pull it just to make sure that it's a little bit snug, and boom, there you guys go. You have a Bohemian box braid installed. Super easy, guys, and like I said, you are literally cutting the time for installation in half. Now, as I'm working, I do one side and then I'll switch over to the other side. And I start off by leaving a little bit of space in between the box braids that I'm installing. I personally love when my crochet braids lay nice and flat and they have a really natural look. It can get extremely bulky and extremely full if you are just installing them super close together. So I start off by really spacing them out, and then you can always go back and fill in the areas that you feel look a little sparse or where you can still see braids toward the end. But you want to try to avoid putting them like right next to each other in the beginning, because like I said, it can get really bulky and really full looking, and we don't want that. Now, like I said, each order comes with 6 packs. When you take the pack apart, there's 3 bundles, and this is already just 2 bundles on one side, so you guys can see how nice and full it's already looking just by filling up those braids. And as I separate it, you guys can see that there's a lot of space in between those braids, but you still get a really full look. And that's why I say you want to try to avoid stacking them on top of each other in the beginning, because you can always go back and fill in any spots that need to be filled in later. So just really quickly, a couple benefits of doing crochet in the back is that, like I said in the title, you guys can cut your service time almost in half. For me, I'm a really quick braider, but by doing crochet, I can still knock off an hour to an hour and a half off of my service time, which is still really good since I'm achieving the same or a similar look. For crochet, I would typically recommend this for children or my older clientele. I feel like that's more of a target market for the crochet type look, and it's a low tension style, so it's not going to be as tight as if you had actually a full head of box braids in your head. So I think that that's amazing. And guys, they're really full but still super lightweight, so if you have a client who is suffering from hair loss issues, this is a great way to cover up some of those spots without adding too much tension onto their hair. So this is almost a full pack on this side of her head. For the entire back section of her head, I used a total of 3 packs, and like I said in the beginning of this video, I spent $38 for 6 packs of hair, so technically you can get 2 clients out of that, which I think is really amazing. So in the front now, I'm going to be doing a feed and braid design. Typically I would try to do as many braids as I can going back to cover up that crochet, but I am going to do a heart going downward on each side. You guys will see in some of the crochet in the back there are a couple spaces that need to be filled in, but like I said, I kind of just start out not making it too full, and you can always go back at the end and cover up whatever needs to be covered that obviously is not going to be covered by the feed and braids. So I am kind of just doing a couple different designs that I've seen on different tribal type styles and just combining them all together. London is really kind of just letting me freestyle it and do whatever I want, which is always super fun. So I'm excited for you guys to see how this turned out. What I really love is because the back didn't take super long to do, I'm really able to focus all my time and energy making sure I'm doing the neatest feed and braids in the front of my client's head. Braiding while pregnant has been super exhausting, so I really loved not having to spend so much time focusing on the back of my client's head. So I'm gonna go ahead and close off this heart. Guys, I'm actually really surprised that hearts are still in style. I thought they would have went out of style by now, but you would be surprised how many of my clients still ask me for heart-shaped braids in some type of form. Since my last tutorial that I posted on YouTube, which I'll link in the top right section, I have learned a bunch of different ways to approach parting your heart. So if you guys are still struggling with doing your heart parts and you guys want another updated tutorial for 2023, just let me know down in the comment section below. You guys can just drop a heart and say tutorial, and I'll get that out to you guys. I'm going to be doing a total of 3 hearts on London. I'm doing 1 on each side, and then I'm going to have 1 in the center of her head that I saw that was really cute. So I'm excited for you guys to see how the front of this style turned out. So for my feed and braids, I am doing what I would consider my medium size. You do want to make sure that you are matching the size of the box braids in the back, obviously, so that it will give the illusion that you did box braids in the back and feed and braids in the front. And I'm not adding any type of boho pieces to these feed and braids. I'm just going to be curling the ends to match the hair in the back. The reason why is because I didn't want to add in any hair that did not match the same texture. Obviously, that would kind of throw it off. And honestly, the back is super full by itself to where you really don't need to do it. Now, if I was doing like a bunch of layered braids and they were going to fall over the top, that's fine, but this is literally going to be about 8 to 10 braids just laying over that crochet, so it really doesn't need to have any type of boho pieces pulled out. So in this top section here, I'm also doing a heart. It's going to curve around and like cross over. I've seen a lot of different braiders do this style, and I kind of just wanted to try it out. So that is what I'm doing for these top 2 braids here. I just realized I did not even tell you guys what products I'm using. I am not a stylist who is stingy about her product list. So if I ever forget to mention it in a video, right underneath my video, there is a description section, and I will typically always link the products that I'm using throughout the video in that section so that you guys can purchase it through my Amazon store. By purchasing through there, I do receive a small commission. So thank you to everyone who has purchased through the link in the past. But you can find my own products from my own brand, the Dope Collection. I usually tag the combs that I'm using and even the gel. So for this video, I am using Pure O Neat Braid. I love to use this for stitch braid type styles. Typically, sometimes I will use it for knotless, but it really depends on the density and the texture of my client's hair, what product I use. I will definitely be doing an updated 2023 product list for you guys because I literally have not done that in, I want to say, like years. So I'm definitely going to go through all the products that I use and when I use them and why I use them. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so we are pretty much going to be zooming through these last couple braids. Each side is symmetrical, meaning I did the same design on each side. My last braid that I'm going to be finishing up on this side is actually going to be a crisscross, and we did leave out a little bit of London's edges. So I'm just going to zoom through this braid really quickly. You guys can see where the little indent of my heart is. I made a triangle braid, and I'm going to actually cross that over and add it into the cross, just something to give it a little bit of extra pizzazz. And yeah, we'll get into the details, the finishing look details. Alright guys, so if you've been following me, you guys will know that I love to use the gray small rods to create my boho curls, and actually I think it was the perfect size to match with this crochet hair. You guys can see how beautifully those braids are just going to lay right over the crochet, and you're not even going to be able to tell that I didn't box braid the back. I did go in and fill in some spots on the side where the hearts were, where I felt like I needed some extra boho braids in there. You just want to make sure that the braids around the perimeter of the crochet are not showing. That's the most important part. You want to give it a nice full look. And then we are going to do kind of like fluffy, not fluffy edges for London, but curling edges just makes it easier to do. I always ask my client if they're comfortable before I do it, because obviously I can lay them without doing this step, but it does give it just like an extra kind of like super smooth look that I really have grown to love. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and dip these rods in the water. If you guys are interested in seeing what different curl patterns you get with different rods, let me know, and I would love to make a video on that, because y'all, I definitely be picking and choosing what I like based on what look I'm going for, and your rod size really does matter. So if that's something that you guys would like to see, let me know down below and I'll get that video out to you guys. So I'm going to let these curls air dry while I go in and do my client's edges. I found that the longer you let the rod sit on there, the better the curl turns out. So I am going in and doing her edges using the Dope Collection Edge Control. This is my own brand, guys, and it is so amazing. The size that I just showed you is actually my travel size, which is only $6. That is literally a steal because a little bit of product goes a long way. So if you guys haven't tried it out already and you kind of want to sample it, I would definitely recommend getting the travel size. Before I actually lay down my client's edges with the products, I kind of just take my edge brush and I brush it in whatever direction I want it to lay. This is just going to make sure that you only have to use a minimal amount of product if you kind of already have a shape scoped out. So you guys will always see me kind of do that before I apply the product. I'm using a very, very small amount, guys. Just because it only takes a small amount and it just gives it a softer look when the product is not kind of like pounded on there. Also, this edge control will literally dry hard and your edges will not move. So I just try to do like a little bit at a time, so that way when London needs to go in and touch up her edges, she'll still have a little bit of flexibility with them. If you put a bunch of product on there, then that's when you start to get build up and everything. So we did something really, really simple, but it still looks really cute and I'm so excited for you guys to see. So I'm going to take out these last couple rods on camera and I'm just going to show you guys. Literally all I do is unravel it from the bottom up, and I'm going to cut off the very tip of the curl because typically that hair down there is like not fully formed in the curl, or it's kind of just like a scraggly little piece. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off, and then the curls are ready to go, and you guys can see how beautifully this gray curl rod has allowed these curls to blend in with the hair that is in the back. Alright guys, so this is the last curl that I'm cutting and we are finally getting into this finished look. I absolutely love the way that these braids turned out. I think the feed-in braids in the front are so neat and they cover up the crochet perfect. I hope you guys really, really like this style, and I hope you guys enjoyed just seeing an alternative method for those of you guys who may not be as quick or still a beginner or just want an alternative option for some of your clients. I hope this video was helpful and useful for you guys. As always, if you guys have any suggestions, I am getting back on my tutorial game for 2023, and also I asked on my community tab what you guys wanted to see more of, and you guys did say tutorials. So if there's anything that you guys would like to request to be shown, let me know in the comment section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for your support. I hope everyone is having a great start to their new year, and I will see you guys in my next video.
What you mean you don't know Pana? She's dope. What you mean? What you mean? What you mean? What you mean?